Hello everyone and welcome to another Fight of the Night review. I have a cat with me. Yeah, he's adorable. This is for the Fight of the Night at UFC Fight Night Edgar versus Chan Sung Jung. Well, the Korean Zombie for short. And the fight in question was it was on the main card. It was between Ho Choi and Charles Jourdain. Ho Choi obviously is the Korean Superboy. And it was at the Sajik Arena in Busan, South Korea, which is where Ho Choi is from. This is Choi's first fight since January 2018, so he's been out for a long time. I don't really know a lot about Charles, but Charles won this one, which was quite the surprise, and by TKO in round 2. So we're going to go through it bit by bit as much as we can. So let's do that. First of all, we were introduced to a new referee for this fight, or at least one I hadn't seen before, named Peter Hickmott, and he did a pretty good job in this one. So, Jourdain versus Choi. Starts with the two meeting in the middle. Obviously, they touch gloves. There's good respect between them, and obviously, when the fighters are announced, there's almost no fanfare for Jourdain, who is from not Montreal, Quebec. He's from Quebec. I think it's Beloeil or something. I forget what it's pronounced. And obviously, Choi being from Korea, he gets the bigger crowd reaction. So yeah, the two meet and really don't waste a lot of time getting into business. Jourdain does start pressing forward, but Choi lands a beautiful counter right uppercut. This becomes one of Choi's weapons of choice, if you'll pardon the slightly accidental pun. He goes for it quite a fair bit, especially with Jourdain stepping in, and it is quite a good weapon for him. Jourdain does start to land some of his own shots as well. His left body kick is one of his biggest weapons in this fight, and it does start to benefit him. But I feel like Choi definitely won round one. He landed a beautiful counter left hook, and he was doing a lot more of the pressuring as well. Jourdain was doing a lot of backing off, and even when he wasn't really trying to back off, he didn't really land anything to really push himself forward. But Choi was the one who was definitely pressuring a lot more, landing big shots. And even though he did knock down Jourdain did knock down Choi near the end of the first round, and sort of did what Choi did earlier in the first round too. Choi got a knockdown and he went on top. He tried to land some ground and pound, but Jourdain managed to get back on his feet. Same thing sort of happened at the end of round 1. Choi managed to get back on his feet despite being knocked down, and Jourdain jumping on him. Speaking of jumping, there were a lot of jumping knees in this fight, from both sides. Jourdain was the one who landed them more readily, and they weren't really in the clinch much. There was a brief moment in round 1, and there was a slightly longer moment in round 2, but there wasn't a lot of clinch work. But yeah, round 1, I definitely think is in favour of Choi, despite him being knocked down near the end of round 1. He definitely had the majority of it, but it didn't matter because with 30 seconds left in round 2, Jourdain won by TKO. It was a really, really good one too. Choi sort of wanted to continue his plan, but it didn't really work this time for some reason. Jourdain was just landing a bit better. He was landing more shots. His counter left was really good. He had a really good counter straight left, which worked for him because Jourdain is a southpaw fighter in this case, and Choi is orthodox. So the fact that Jourdain was managing to land such a good left against an orthodox fighter, which isn't really something that's easy to do in the UFC, it worked really well for him, and it was really cool to see. There was a brilliant moment where he landed a beautiful flush combo on Choi, and Choi landed a great uppercut that did briefly sort of send Jourdain back a bit, but not a whole lot. Jourdain, managed to get a good knockdown eventually, and he got a brilliant counter left hook near the end of the fight rather, in round 2. Then a right, then down went Choi, then Jourdain went down to finish the fight, and finish the fight he did. TKO victory. Not a lot to complain about. I'm sorry if I can't remember as much of this fight as I want to. I was really entertained by it, and I really had a lot of fun. Got no problem with a fighter I'm not used to winning. Choi, this is his 3rd loss in a row, and it's kind of sad because I do like him. I think he's really good. But he put on one half of an entertaining fight. He was one half of an entertaining fight, is what I meant to say there. Jourdain was the other half. Glad that we got a win. It was a really good finish. I thought the referee did a really good job in calling it. And man, I have to admit, it was pretty sort of it was kind of cool to hear the crowd go completely dead silent after Choi fell and Jourdain won. Because they were cheering for him so much, and his shots way later than Jourdain, especially with the knockdowns he got on Jourdain in round 1, and I think he got one in round 2. Those were getting the biggest reactions, but Jourdain wasn't like doing. It wasn't like he was doing nothing. But yeah, like, you know, his shots weren't as reacted to as Choi's were. So the fact that the room went completely silent after Choi lost, you know, the literal hometown kid in this case. I mean, that's kind of awesome if you can sort of silence an audience like that. Especially when it comes to Asian audiences. I've talked about them before, but like the Korean audience especially is usually really good. Their crowd reaction was freaking fantastic. Commentary was quite good, Dan Hardy, and I think John Anik as well, I could be wrong. John Martinez did a great job as the announcer. I'm just stalling because I can't really think of anything else to say. But yeah, this was a really good fight. I really enjoyed it. I don't know where it fits in my top 10. I still need to make the top 10 list. I will, eventually. But yeah, this was really good. I recommend like seeking out to watch it. It's a fun fight while it lasts. So yeah, don't really have much else to say, which is nothing new from me. Hero, do you have anything to add? Didn't think so. I'll see you all. Hopefully, I don't know if I'm going to see you this week for my top 10 videos because, you know, it's like Christmas in a few days and, you know, time off would be nice. You'll probably see the top 10 albums videos by the start of next year, as well as possibly the top 10 UFC fights video. And I'll see you all for those, most likely. There's also probably another fight of the night next week as well. Is there a card next week? Quick look on it. No, January 18th. So I've got some time off, which is good. I'll see you all for that. As always, thank you for watching. You're awesome.